Good morning, guys. We're going to take a look at Hyperliquid today. Chart that's been in a bit of a weird spot, had a nice move off the bottom, monthly sweep and monthly sweep. So been kind of range bound here. The sweep did come from a really nice area, the high time frame mid range here. It's been an open question to me whether we kind of come back down and either retest that wick or come back down, test the range lows before going higher. You can see here on the weekly, we've got a nice fair value gap that we could potentially continue higher off of. Right around the mid-range of this pump move, right? So when we get a pump like this, we want to see the mid-range hold, and then we can get some continuation. Now, I was kind of concerned we were going to break down here for a bit, especially because we got a bearish change in the state of delivery here on the move down. So I don't think this is completely out of the woods just yet, but it looks really, really interesting for a long here, because we've got this daily sweep. And if I drill down a little bit here into the 1 hour chart, do some range work. Here's your range low, takes liquidity. Here's your range high, takes liquidity. So this is what we're working in. You can see this was our extreme internal range liquidity here. Swept it once there, swept it twice, swept it 3 times. So now we've got 1, 2, 3. In this area here, you can see on this candle, this is the daily candle. So we've got a daily sweep and a very clean order block here. Just going to make that color so you can see it. Now for this sweep and this to be valid for continuation, we want to see price respecting the mid-range of this area here where we have a change in the state of delivery with the close above. And this morning, we got a nice little manipulation move down, wanted to see this bought up very quickly. And currently that is the case. It's a bit of an early confirmation right now, but you can see this bearish fair value gap, which we have successfully inverted here on the 1 hour chart. Next step up for us would be to mitigate this mid-range here, which we've now done. So basically at this point, all of the boxes have been checked, and I think this can move higher. So my expectation now at a minimum would be to take out some of this liquidity curve here. There's a lot of liquidity that's been built up in this range. This still could move up to range highs, sweep something, and then come back down and resume the chop. So if I'm trading this with perps, I'm TPing some of this liquidity here and not expecting a breakout with like 100% certainty. But it's a very interesting spot to position for a long-term move because there are some high time frame levels here, and these are extremes and some sweeps, some failures to close at the extremes of these high time levels. So this move, while it's too early to tell, could develop into a move that goes higher. And then the next range I'm looking at here is basically this. So here's our range low, here's our range high. And you can see the mid-range here at around $40. probably our next trouble area. So this liquidity here above the mid-range, probably an interesting target. And yeah, you could see a bearish order block here, which produces this fair value gap. So if I zoom out and the bottom is in here, and I think there's a decent chance now that the bottom is in here, I would say the one thing we have to worry about still is this bearish gap here on the 2-day. So I don't think you all in long with your net worth just yet. We have to mitigate this gap and see what happens there in response. So if you're more of a careful trader, you could wait for this reaction, which on the lower time frame chart probably takes out some of this liquidity here. Into this bearish area here. So possible path forward for bullishness, move up into this zone, take out some of this liquidity, pull back. And then somewhere in here, if you are somebody who is a little more cautious and wants to wait for more confirmation, here probably next week is where we can look for some sort of pullback, some sort of sweep, some sort of lower time frame development. And if this order block here holds, this is the point of interest for a retrace. So if this holds here after mitigating this stuff up here, then I think it's good for all of this here. And in reality, once this area is gone, and once we take out this high here around 31.4, that is probably good enough for me to say that this is going for the range highs. And then the next stop, I think, would be, $44, $45 or so. This move is coming from this order block here. So this is a monthly low sweep and a strong move, right? So this could be the first retracement of this leg. This could either be like an ABC correction, and then we go down to here, back up, or to new lows, or this could be the start of like a 5-wave complete reversal. So we could see 1, 2, 3, reject, 4, and then a push up. At that point, the next trouble area is up here, because you can see order block. This is the most extreme supply on the chart. You can see the liquidity here resting nicely below that supply. So I would be very careful at $52. My baseline assumption, putting this all together, is that we have likely bottomed here and that we put in some sort of move like this and go for 52. What happens after that, I don't have a lot of conviction in. In my mind, that would be enough for this entire leg. And then we'd be probably playing another wait and see game to see what develops at that point. But I do still think, even from here, there's a very good chance we put in some macro higher time frame, higher low, and then break out to all-time highs. But if you're perp trading, you're taking this one leg at a time. This is an interesting spot to buy spot right here, but you have to acknowledge that price could still go down to 23. It could still even go back towards the origin here. I'm happy to buy spot here. I'm happy to buy more spot here. But for the leverage, all of the thoughts I gave you is how I'm currently seeing this and how I'm currently planning the trade. So hopefully that is insightful and helpful. Thank you for watching.